Hello, everybody, and welcome to the. I guess we could call it random idea that we had for a Monday show. Uh,
Three days ago.
3 days ago. So this will be called "Come as You Are." Oh, hello, and yep, that's fucking playing in the background. There we go. This is called "Come as You Are." Basically, this is going to be our Monday show where we just kind of get together, talk about what future projects we've got coming up, talk about games of the month, that sort of thing, and just in general have a chat. I am joined by my illustrious co-founder slash co-host for this show, Mac. Mac, why don't you introduce yourself, tell people what you're famous for, etc., etc., etc.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Mac. You know me as Mr. Clean. I write for Deniable Assets. I'm also famous. I ate a 1 pound hamburger at Fuddruckers. Um, I have the shortest 100-meter dash. I completed it in only 5 meters. Those are just a few of my accomplishments. They are great and shut up. They are great and many. Don't laugh at my accomplishments. I'm very proud.
I bet you are.
Uh, but other than that, yeah, we had this idea to do this show. It's basically just an extension of what James and I do every week. Except now we're going to make you suffer and listen to it.
Which, honestly, is really a favor to y'all because we are hilarious in our own rights. Um, but yeah, so like I said, this isn't really going to be anything super serious. It's just pretty casual. The biggest thing that we're getting, well, I guess we should say we're trying to do is maintain regular streaming schedules. This episode in particular is going to be, at the very least, not terrible. At the very best, not god awful. So there's that. As you will notice, I am I like right there is not a video of another person. It is because my co-host um, doesn't have a webcam that works currently. So
It's because I'm poor.
eh, everybody's poor for a while. What's up, Zhang? I appreciate you stopping listening to Resting Glitch Face just to come say hello. It means a lot because that is a amazing podcast full of amazing people.
I also like the name of it.
It's pretty great, man. Like
Yeah, it's pretty good.
it's really good. But
Hi, Zang.
anyway, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about is our new schedule that we've got going on, and just kind of explain a little bit about Riot House as a company and kind of what we're wanting to accomplish with it and that sort of thing. So originally, Mac and I have been talking about creating some kind of multimedia thing. We had originally tried. God, how many years ago was that, Mac? With that
It
one
was about
podcast.
almost 5 years ago now. I think, well, no, it was about 6 years ago because I think it was in 2014 that we tried contemporary gamers.
We don't need to mention the name. We don't need to mention
Yeah.
it. It
Well,
may
I mean, they
still
can't find
exist.
it anywhere.
It may still exist somewhere on the
It
internet.
may, yeah. It was not good. It was bad.
It was very bad.
It was real bad.
We
Um,
had a good idea, but we just didn't execute it worth a
like
shit.
our problem was that we didn't have a direction. Like we knew we wanted to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. James wanted to talk about what he wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about what I wanted to talk about. Our friends wanted to talk about what they wanted to talk about, but we were all pulling in a different direction, thinking we were accomplishing the same thing, and we weren't. And I think 10 weeks later, we decided, man, God, fuck this.
Yeah,
And
I think it was about. I think we got about 13 episodes in, maybe, before
Was
we
it?
just kind of got tired of doing it because it was bad.
It was just so like it was tedious too, and it. Well, you don't have a good idea if you don't enjoy doing the idea.
Exactly. But
So we just decided, screw that. And then it was a couple of years after that that when was Gen Con 50? What year was that?
that's a good question. Let me check.
Anyway, the same year as Gen Con 50. James and I, we went to that one together. First Gen Con either of us ever went to.
2017.
So much fun. Huh?
2017.
2017? Okay, yeah. We went there. So 3 years after we decided to screw the original podcast, we went to Gen Con. And a few months before that, I believe, we started Deniable Assets. And we started Deniable Assets because James told me, he's like, man, have you ever thought about doing the podcast again? I was like, yeah, I really want to do that. I go, the only thing I have is that if we do it, we have to decide what are we doing. We can't just go a million different ways. We have to figure it out. And then he suggested, because we were big into Shadowrun at the time, he said, why don't we just do a Shadowrun podcast? And I said, fuck it, all right, let's go. And so that's what Deniable Assets became.
Yeah, and we kind of actually got the idea from. By the way, if you are here, you've probably heard of podcasts that we're about to mention. But who knows? Maybe you are a Shadowrun fan who somehow hasn't heard of it. But there was a podcast by the name of the Neo Anarchist podcast that
Who?
yeah, right. That gave
I
us
don't
the
know this
idea
person.
that gave us the idea to kind of do an in character podcast and to kind of fill that. All right, we should be back. That was weird.
Yeah, it was real weird because you started telling a story. It went silent for a very long time, and you came back at the end of the story. And if I had a webcam, it would just be me nodding my head, going, yep, I got all that. Totally get it. Man, I'm with you 100%.
All right, so apparently I think I had an internet jump.
Oh, thank God it wasn't me.
Yeah. So that was weird. Um, I mean, are we back? Okay, yeah, we're back. All right. Anyway, whatever. Neo Anarchist podcast. That gave us the idea to do an in-character podcast. We decided not to do history stuff. We decided to be an in-world podcast about two characters.
Yeah,
And
Robert De Niro and James.
I mean, basically, that was
Basically.
the inspiration behind both of those characters.
The whole reason Mr. Clean existed is because I watched Heat one day and I was like, I want to make that.
And Wolf exists as he's like me but cooler. He has a robotic arm and is a smooth talker and is a ladies' man. All of the things I am not. But yeah, and there was parts of my personality that I threw in there that were me. I'm a phenomenal driver. That's not me being egotistical, but that's just me being honest. And anybody that's ridden with me can tell you that I'm a great driver.
Hey, I can vouch for that. We rode to Origins together from Texas to Columbus, Ohio.
Oh,
Boy, howdy, never doing that again.
yeah. I mean, it was okay.
It was nice. Don't get me wrong. We drove through some very pretty country, but God, my ass hurt.
But yeah, so I threw that in there, and then I've always had a penchant for smugglers and the like. So I created that character, and honestly, Wolf was my first Shadowrun character that I ever made, and I decided just to kind of transfer him to the show because the easiest person to portray is you. So that's exactly what I did. But we went to Gen Con that year. We slapped together some business cards and tried to
Hey,
make
those
ourselves.
business cards look cool.
Hey, they were really really fucking
They were
cool.
they
I'm
were
not trying
freaking
to say they
sweet.
weren't. But we slapped together some business cards, tried to make ourselves look super professional, just to find out that, man, we don't need all that in order to get a little bit of cred in the geek and nerd community. Like like you guys are just awesome in general and super accepting. So that was really cool. Which, by the way, the Shadowrun community, I got to give them a lot of credit and a lot of like props, because if it wasn't for how accepting all of like the podcasting community and Shadowrun and all those were, I don't know that we would be doing this today. Um,
Oh God, no. No, like it was because that was one of our biggest downfalls with the other podcast was, we put it out there. We had points of contact that people could get in touch with us. We saw that some people listened, but nobody said anything. Like we would talk and then it was crickets.
yeah, it was just
We would,
screaming into the ether is what we referred to it as when we decided to
yeah,
stop.
we would ask the audience like, hey, come on, send us questions, all this stuff, and we would get nothing, and it bummed us out.
Yeah.
And it probably a lot of that was us getting inside our own heads and just like, oh shit, nobody's responding, we must not be very good, and letting that get to us.
Yeah, and so because of that, that was part of the reason why we never even came back to that idea of, because the idea behind it was was that we were kind of doing like a semi-news show, a semi-discussion. Like we would pick out a topic and then we would just kind of run with it for as long as we could. And then we would try to like find stories that interested us and that sort of thing and talk about them. And honestly, that's kind of what this is just a revamping of that original idea, except it won't be 3.5 hours of us just laughing at our own jokes.
Yeah, but real quick, there's there's a lot of people I do wish to credit with helping to basically boost mine and James's egos a little bit, but the three that I can recall right off the top of my head, that first reaction that we ever got, because we went to Gen Con and we were waiting to get into the Shadowcasters panel, and we were sitting there talking with a few other people, and it was about 5 minutes before everybody started getting there, and I won't say their last names because I don't know if they want that much attention, but everybody probably knows who they are regardless. But Matthew, Joel, and Eric. Matthew especially, because that first time that we said, oh yeah, me and James, we're deniable assets. He's Wolf, I'm Mr. Clean. He goes, holy shit, you guys are fucking deniable assets? That's cool. And he probably didn't curse that much, but it was that level of excitement. And I was like, yes, yeah, is this what a fan feels like? and so, yeah.
Which immediately caused our heads to begin to just inflate and inflate and inflate.
I can barely fit through doors now because my head's so big.
But yeah, so it was so it was really, like I said, it was really cool to have that much of a welcome into this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And 3 years now? 3 years later,
yes,
we're starting our own Twitch thing. We've started Riot House Entertainment. which we're planning on becoming this like big multimedia thing. Gaming videos, that we have Not Your Normal Nerdcast, which is a inclusivity show, trying to bring light to certain marginalized groups and that sort of thing. And eventually, we're hoping to have actual plays of tabletop games, and stuff like that. I mean, that's really the idea behind everything that Riot House stands for, and the original idea behind the name is it actually came from it's just a random meme that I saw, and it sucks that like Facebook and Twitter and all these places don't usually give credit to people who create these memes, because basically it was something to the effect of, I'm gonna see if I can't pull it up, because I think I tweeted it out not too long ago.
We got it from a book, actually.
Was it from a book?
Yeah, it was from Kings of the Wild.
I don't know if you and I are thinking of the same thing.
Yeah, the Riot House was the name of the bar in what was the name of the city? Five Court.
I actually had completely forgotten that was the name of it.
Yeah, because I had brought Riot House up as a recommended name for the show, along with like a few others, and the others sucked, but I really liked Riot House, just because I had read this book called Kings of the Wild.
Great book,
and I highly recommend it. But the Riot House was this high, like 5-story bar in this city called Five Court in this fantasy world, and it like every year it burned to the ground because the mercenary bands that would go in there were just so raucous and so insane. And it's really funny. So that's why I thought, Riot House, that's cool, because we're a riot.
Well, and then I thought that the idea was great, just because, and I finally found the saying. It shows that there's a guy named Daniel Abraham, who is one of the Twitter things. I don't know if he's the one that came up with it. Yeah, no, it does. It does show that he is credited for coming up with it. But the idea is, in an age of performative cruelty, kindness is punk as fuck. So be punk as fuck. And that really kind of spoke to me in a really profound way, because nowadays it's the establishment that's honestly the shitbags. And originally whenever punk was formed, back in the 70s, right? I mean, hell, it might have even been the 60s whenever punk first started becoming a genre. But it was always, damn the man, fuck the establishment, and all that kind of shit. And it was like burn down shit and all that kind of crap. And now it just seems like the world itself has just become so fucking mean in general, and just over time we've become more cruel as a society. We've marginalized people for just existing, for God's sakes. So
because they have the audacity not to lay down and die.
Exactly, right? And so the idea behind the Riot House, which is part of the reason why like our logo is just, the fist up in the air, and and then the main banner logo that we have has a Molotov cocktail, because the idea of being inclusive, of being accepting of people, and just in general being a good fucking person is now anti-establishment. I mean, not trying to exclude and create other of people is just, it's so out there as a concept, and so anti-establishment at this point. So the term Riot House and all of that, and that's part of the reason why whenever I start our streams, unless of course we're playing a very relaxed game, which this month is Coffee Talk, which is a great game, by the way. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit, but that's why all of our streams start with a punk song. Most of them that I've put on have been fair use because the last thing that we want to do is get our videos audio cut because we've accidentally put on.
And we don't wish to draw the ire of the man just yet.
Exactly, and we don't want our videos completely cut off because of copyright claims. But if you're a punk band or even a metal band and you want your music featured on a Riot House starting soon and ending soon cut, feel free to send it to us. Contact us on Twitter, Riot House Ent, Facebook, Riot House Ent, Riot House Entertainment at Gmail. We'll fucking play whatever, man. As long as it's not like Nazi punk shit. Because I'm a very firm believer in that old punk song, Nazi punks fuck off. But
Not
yeah.
Nazis in general, fuck off. I mean,
yeah, basically. Which, that's another thing. When the fuck did it become okay to be a Nazi again? People
I don't know.
But
it's irritating though.
It's very irritating.
I mean, it's like I say irritating because I try not to get angry about shit because that's an old part of me that I try to leave in the past. But yeah, I mean, like it's eye-twitchingly irritating.
Yeah, I mean, I'll readily admit it. It fucking royally pisses me off and makes me angry as shit. But that's we're about positivity here, unless of course you're being very negative, in which case, as the
positively fucking livid.
Yeah, but as the old punks used to do, we'll stomp a mud hole in a motherfucker if we have to.
Yep.
But that's again neither here nor there. So that's where Riot House came from, and that's kind of what we're about. That's the foundation of our shit. We're anti-establishment in the way that we just want people to be fucking nice to each other and just accept people.
I mean, fucking
shit.
Follow the words of Saint Tedicus and just be excellent to each other.
What's up, Cole? Thanks for hanging out, buddy. It's good to see you, man.
It's like how difficult is it to just, I mean, be fucking cool, dude.
It's obviously damn near impossible for some people.
Yeah.
But so to kind of move on from that, one of the things that I did want to talk about is what we are planning on doing this month. Initially, we had originally talked about doing like 4 shows in the first month that we were streaming because we didn't want to get overblown. We didn't want to overwork ourselves. And then
originally wasn't it just the 2?
Yeah, it was Not Your Normal Nerdcast, and then it was 1 episode of Game Night on the same week.
Yeah.
And so therefore, every other week we would have 2 shows, so we'd have 4 streams a month. And then I did Not Your Normal Nerdcast, that first episode. And the outpouring of support that we got for that just made me decide to maybe we should kind of look into other avenues of all that, but we'll wait. We'll kind of see where things go on the second stream and all that. And then we did the second episode of Not Your Normal Nerdcast that featured and if I say the name wrong, I am so sorry, Zeph. But Zafira,
I think.
Zafira, and Ash, they were on an episode and they were fucking great. And we got.
I'm still like fucking all right. There's another Tekken player out there. That's fucking cool.
Nice. But we were, we had them on, and then we also had Rusty Zimmerman on, who was.
Who doesn't love
awesome.
His voice?
Who what?
Who doesn't love his voice?
Disaster.
I mean, it's a pretty great voice though. But yeah, and like I said, the outpouring of support that we had, and everybody just tuning into the streams and being active, and I mean, those first couple of streams, I mean, we were just watching the chat like fly by of people, interacting with us, interacting with each other, and it felt like just we were building something good, building some kind of large community. So we added game night to the docket this month, and basically the idea behind that is we're going to play one game a month where Mac and I will go back and forth. It'll be the same game, just 2 separate playthroughs, and we're going to try to beat every game that we play in that month period, if we can.
Fingers crossed.
Like this
If
month,
you ask us to play Dark Souls, I hate you.
I'm not okay with this, but I'll try. I mean, I get very frustrated with exceptionally hard games. But like I said, this month is Coffee Talk, which is more of like a visual novel. Luckily, I kind of have one up on Mac because I got 1 extra day to play it. So I will. I mean, it's not that long of a game. It's like 12 hours, I think, was the total runtime.
I play a lot of visual novels, though, so I mean, I kind of got you there.
And I don't. This is my first one.
My greatest challenge will be the latte art.
Oh, God, dude, I'm letting you know. It's fucking hard. Like, it's really hard to make decent latte art on that goddamn game. I was lucky if I got smiley faces. And I mean, honestly, let's see who's in here.
They'll be lucky just to not get a whole cup full of cream.
Right? I mean, Mac was in here. I know Zhang was in there. Chelsea was watching. I mean, and they can all attest. I am not an internet latte artist at all. I got a smiley face down, though, and it was like the Mario style with like the 2 bar eyes and like the really... I mean, my mouth was much shittier than the Mario one.
Looks kind of like a bomb.
No, because a bomb even looked better than this. Yeah, no, it was terrible. It was terrible. But yeah, so that's what we're playing this month. And if you guys have game recommendations, preferably something that's a little short, preferably something that's not well known. I mean, we could be like every other streamer and, stream Fortnite or something. But,
please no.
Yeah, I'm letting you know right now, I'm not going to do it. I don't like Fortnite. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm not going to play it.
Why don't you stream Apex Legends, James?
I do that on my personal channel, and I'm bomb as fuck at it. But there is so much saturation in the Apex Legends community of people who are 1,000 times better than me. So I probably won't be streaming that either. I mean, I will on like my personal channel, but not on here. It's not worth me trying to scream into the ether. But I'd really prefer like indie games, like I said, ones that are a little less well known, just because those games have more of a draw to me, because not that many eyes are on them, and the more eyes that I can bring to good games that aren't very well known, that's what I want to do. And apparently Zhang is recommending Stick Figure, so I will mark that down as a potential game. I'm not sure what it is, but I'll look it up now. Fuck it. Stick figure game. Zhang, you're probably gonna have to tell me like what stick figure you're talking about.
If it's anything like the old Flash games, it's gonna be fucking cool.
Right? Oh,
like
man.
A trip down memory lane.
Right? Yeah, dude, I love those old games. Outer Worlds.
Who remembers PopCap games? Oh, fuck it. I'm down for some Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds is great, but again, super well-known game and a lot of saturation out there. But, I mean, it's a super fun game. I've enjoyed it so far. I've also enjoyed, like, the representation that I saw. Try stick figures. Okay. Sorry, Zhang. I thought that was a game. My bad. But yeah, no, like I like the little bit of extra representation. I'm not 100% sure as far as Outer Worlds is concerned. I've only played about 10, 11 hours or so.
I thought you were about to say like 10 minutes.
No. It's like 10 hours, 10 to 11 hours or so. So I'm not really sure if like the representation like maintains, but I do know that there is a sorely underrepresented group in one of the main companions. So, that's fucking cool. But yeah, so again, if you have recommendations, like send them to us. We'll check them out and see if they're cool to play, and if they are, we'll fucking play them. We still don't have anything set for March, so
No, we haven't even sat down and talked about what we're doing in March.
yeah, I mean it's middle of the month, we're fine. But that's on game night, so that's that show, and then you have this one, the Come As You Are stream, where basically it's just gonna be us just bullshitting and talking to each other again, kind of explaining what we're gonna be. Yeah, dude, Pavardi's dope. And what we're gonna be doing in the future, plans for the channel, and also just kind of hanging out with you guys. I mean, the chat and our followers are really what we're here for, and I mean, you guys make us who we are, and I mean, you guys are great. I mean, the fact of that
I currently cannot see the chat because I have my phone open on notes, and my phone won't leave Twitch open. So
yeah, that's something I feel like Twitch should probably work on, because I feel like a lot of people put that stuff on in the background as just kind of like
and my internet is so crap where I live that I'm afraid that if I have it running on my PC at the same time we're doing this, that it's just gonna jumble everything up and
artificing and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so
but yeah, I mean, the fact of that, like, we've got, I mean, it says 6 viewers, but I know that that's not like a super accurate count. But I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the chat right now, which there's just a dumb show of like dumb talking heads, and you guys are still hanging out. Like, that's cool, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate every one of you guys, because like you guys are awesome. But yeah, like that's what this show is going to be. We'll probably talk about like some news stuff that we find interesting. Like, for instance, here in a couple of minutes, I'm probably going to bring up some of the news that I found out less than 10 minutes ago, which is interesting to me. But yeah, and those are the 3 shows that we've currently got on the docket for right now. If there's something else that you guys want to see, and I guess there is Not Your Normal Nerdcast. I guess I should probably mention the show that we started one. But yeah, and then there's Not Your Normal Nerdcast, which is just basically a show about inclusion, where we talk to people who are marginalized and whose voices you don't usually hear that much. And we also give advice on how to make your tables more welcoming, how to make your little subsection of nerddom more welcoming, and just in general how to just be excellent to each other, as Max said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, that's our show lineup. Yeah, so on to the news story that I found.
Real quick, before we do the news story, do we want to talk about the things that we are working on?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Just because, I feel like we go through long periods of silence with deniable assets, and we apologize for, but that's not because we're not working on stuff. We are working on stuff. It's just that while we're working, we're concentrating on that. So we tend to not, we focus. So we tend to not really let too much out. So I guess here is a good way that we can kind of update you on some of the stuff that we are working on for deniable assets, as well as stuff that we're working on for future projects. So for deniable assets, we're working on the new season of it. I've gotten most of the scripts already written. I just need to sit down and record. One of the things that's going to be covered very heavily in this season is we're going to finish all of Seattle's locations this season. So that
Come
series
hell or
that we
high water.
started, yeah, that series that we started back in the first season will be wrapped up. Because last season, back in November, October, November, December, somewhere around there, we released, was it one or two? I think it was just one. God, I can't remember. That's bad. It's real bad. But we released at least one episode where it was two districts in one episode.
I think that was.
And normally we would have only done one district per episode, but we were like, we're just going to kind of hurry and rev this up a bit. We're also going to cover some more of the terrorist organizations in the Sixth World. And then we're going to finish the series on people, covering the dwarves and elves.
Races.
Yes. And also a couple of special episodes putting the spotlight on runners, individual runners. So that'll be fun. And you mentioned that we would be doing actual plays and stuff earlier, James. So that may be a little bit in the making because we tried that last year. None of you heard it, thank God, because it did not go as well as I had hoped. But I had been planning to do an actual play about a group of people that we had mentioned in the Blackout episodes. And unfortunately, that just kind of never really took, and times just didn't work out. And so
as an adult, it's very hard to get other adults
to do what you want.
Out.
How dare you have lives? But so that's kind of been shelved indefinitely. I don't know if we'll ever go back to it. I mean, we might. Maybe when we're a little more settled. Maybe, I don't know.
It might be something it might be something we might come back to, like as the 1 year anniversary of Blackout. Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see though. So now, not Shadowrun related stuff. So first, we have two little sci-fi projects, and James and I are real pumped about that. One of them is an original, one we're working on with somebody else. They're really fun. They're ways off, though. So, don't expect them soon, but just like, oh, hey, cool. Expect some something new and original coming out of us here probably within the year.
It's gonna be a lot of fun to record too.
Yes.
It's gonna be hell to edit, but it's gonna be a lot of fun to record.
It's gonna be a lot of fun to record. Okay, and the last thing that we're working on currently is if there are any fans of Warhammer 40,000. We are working on something for that.
Really? 40,000? Like
yes.
Everybody else refers
Warhammer 40. That's technically the name. Is Warhammer 40,000.
Everybody else refers to it as 40K, and you're gonna be the
I
pretentious.
know. I'm being one of those nerds right now. Okay. No, I actually. Let me tell you what. It's Warhammer 40,000. And Magnus did nothing wrong. But we're working on that. We've got 3 projects for that, technically. 2 of which James doesn't even know about.
I mean, you're kind of the head of like creative projects, so it's fine that I don't know anything about them.
Yes, all according to plan. But we're working on that, and that's just a few of the things you can look forward to. Oh, and more Tales stuff for Deniable Assets, because that brings me such joy. And
that's kind of what got us our start, really, was like the deniable assets stuff, and especially the Tales, because that's what really set us apart from, all the other action, or not actual plays, good God, all of the other like in character podcasts. Was that, I mean, we weren't based on games that we played. We weren't based on like just us kind of doing like little history like parts, or like explaining the game in like in character terms, even though that is what most of Deniable Assets is as far as the actual radio show.
Yes.
But the Tales were just our little audio dramas that we put together as just a day in the life of a runner team, or a team of runners, or a duo of runners, or a partnership, whatever.
A triumvirate of runners.
But yeah, so those are kind of the future projects that we're looking at. And yeah, so hopefully y'all are hyped about those sort of things.
Woo woo, get hype.
Woot. The hype train has no brakes. Oh man. But yeah, so just kind of fill the last like 15 minutes or so, because we'd originally, like I said, we came up with this idea like 3 days ago, and we had no real concept of what we were gonna do other than just fill a little bit of time BSing.
We were going to follow an old proverb of ours, and that is wing it.
Oh God, we wing things we definitely should not be winging.
Are we bringing up those flashbacks?
We are not. We're not going through that again. But anyway, so one of the things that I found super interesting about today, which it broke probably about an hour ago. I think it was like 6:30 or so.
It was right before we went live that you found it, I think.
Yeah. Oh man, look at that light on my face. Anyway, but apparently, so one thing that annoys the ever-living shit out of me about our society nowadays is, and especially nerd culture in general, we have a real generic problem with just shitting all over movies or comics or whatever else that we just don't agree with, or that we think is going to be terrible because of certain choices. I mean, people do it with DC right now because they're the popular one to shit all over. And don't get me wrong, DC hasn't really made like.
I thought you were about to say because they're the popular one. I was like, no, not really.
Well, they're the popular one to shit on.
To shit on, yeah, I know.
But I mean, right now, like, don't get me wrong, DC hasn't put out anything that's like super awesome that I would, that I would come up there and absolutely just, I'm gonna go see this 15 times in theaters and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that doesn't mean that certain movies deserve the amount of hate that they get. I mean, the fact of that we have a term now called review bombing, where a whole bunch of just dickbag nerds decide that they're going to just send a shit ton of reviews on a movie just because they think it's going to be stupid. And I'm a firm believer in the idea, if you haven't seen the movie, or you haven't at least given it a chance, don't fucking review it. I mean, don't sit there and go on Rotten Tomatoes and give it a 0%, what is that fucking thing? Fresh and
Rotten, I think.
Dude, it's in the name. Good God. Anyway, don't just give it like a 0% Rotten rating just because you're not a huge fan of, Henry Cavill being Superman, or Ben Affleck being Batman, or what's the Twilight guy? Robert Pattinson being Batman.
I keep getting him and Robert Patrick mixed up.
I will pretend I know who Robert Patrick is for the sake of this conversation.
Robert Patrick was in the second Terminator movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The T-1000.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I don't get the actors confused. I get their names confused. I kept calling Robert Patrick Robert Pattinson, and I kept calling Robert Pattinson Robert Patrick, and I'm like, oh man. So every time I go, man, what's that Twilight guy's name again? Oh yeah, Robert Patrick. No, that's a dude from freaking Terminator.
Yeah. But it's one of those. Like I said, now that we have this term review bombing, and that is just, it's so stupid and asinine to me. But that brings me around to the Birds of Prey movie. Now I'm not a huge fan of DC. I will readily admit that. I've never really been a huge fan of comics in general. Really, the one thing that brought me, excuse me, twice. The one thing that brought me into any kind of comic book fold was, X-Men a little bit, but mostly because of Cable. And the only reason why I liked him is because my grandmother, when I was like 12, picked up I now know him to be Shatterstar. She picked up a Shatterstar action figure because she knew that I thought swords were cool, and this guy had 2 swords. So she picked up this figurine, and then on the back of it, it had like Shatterstar. It had another guy whose name I don't remember, and it had this dude with this giant fucking burly muscles, this huge ass gun, and like a glowing eye, which was cool. I mean, I thought it was dope, and because of that, I started like looking into that character, and then I found Cable, and I've always thought Cable was cool, and that led me to Deadpool. The one super oddity who is self-referential and knows he's in a comic book. So, like, that was also kind of cool. And I found him just to be quirky and fun and stupid. But I never actually bought comics for it. So,
See, I'm the exact opposite. I love DC. I don't actually like Marvel as much. I like Marvel, but I like DC more. And I guess the weird thing I like about it is I guess it's not as sciencey. I don't know if that really works as an explanation, but like
it kind of does.
Marvel, yeah, like Marvel, like everything can be. Oh, we can explain it with science, and then with DC, it's just kind of like, oh, it just is.
There's an alien who gets power from the sun, and because of that, he is a superhuman.
And he landed in Kansas and was raised by humans. Huh?
How does he get his power? Who the fuck knows?
It's because I don't know. He's an alien. There we go. He beats the shit out of bad guys. There we go.
Which, honestly, man, like Superman could just straight up like vaporize somebody with a punch. And the fact of that they haven't done that, or I mean, they may have. I don't know if they have.
Superman can what?
Like vaporize somebody with a punch. Like if he straight up just like put all of his power behind a punch on like a normal human, I feel like.
Well, I mean,
like,
I'm pretty sure he probably has in the Injustice storyline.
Probably. That's the one that had the video games about it, right?
Yes.
Do I lose my nerd cred because I don't know what the Injustice storyline is?
Basically, Super kills the Joker because the Joker made him kill Lois Lane, and he becomes Super Hitler.
Oh, dude, is that one where like he puts his fist through Joker's body?
Yeah. And Bruce Wayne and Batman's just like, what the fuck?
Looking back.
Yes. No.
Just horrified. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's a really good. I really enjoy the Injustice comics. I've got them somewhere.
All right, I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
Really? You can smell it from here?
Oh, shut up. Anyway, so, but like I said, because of that, I don't know the comic books. I don't know the characters as they have been portrayed over the years through the reboots and the revamps and all that kind of stuff. But I got to admit, I didn't think Suicide Squad was a complete flaming pile of shit.
It wasn't great,
Yeah,
but it wasn't terrible.
yeah, but I viewed it as it's a good popcorn movie. Which popcorn movies to me, you go in with no expectation, and you go in just to this isn't going to be like super cerebral. It's not going to make you feel things. It's just a fun movie that you watch as just brain candy. I mean, not even brain candy, just eye candy. Like it's cool to watch. Like the special effects are cool, and I liked Will Smith's portrayal of Deadshot. I thought that was pretty dope. It made me interested in Deadshot. And Margot Robbie, like she was fucking dope as Harley Quinn. And I don't know shit about Harley Quinn except that she was in like a super abusive relationship with the Joker. And there's a whole bunch of people online who are just like, I want a relationship like the Joker and Harley Quinn. It's like,
And you go, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I really don't think you do. But and because she was like the breakout star of Suicide Squad, they gave her own movie. And it was The Birds of Prey, which apparently was the lowest opening weekend for any DC movie to date, which is shocking to me. But I mean,
well, yeah, because everybody I know that has seen it says that it's a good or it's enjoyable.
Yeah, and that's,
like maybe it's not like a great movie, but that they at least had fun watching it.
Exactly, and that's what I've heard about it. Like everybody that has actually seen it says that it's fucking great. Like it's fun, it's enjoyable. It's a movie that you go to just kind of, maybe shut your brain off and enjoy just a fun movie. Which God forbid people enjoy a fun movie and they don't sit there and analyze the characters.
And God forbid you have different tastes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's you could probably say that I don't have great taste in movies because I can just watch a movie and everybody else can say, "Oh man, I hate that movie. It sucks." And I can watch it and go, "Oh, I mean, I kind of like it."
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a movie I would, if it was, only like I would actually go out of my way to put in the DVD tray, but maybe it's like, "Oh, it's on. There's nothing else. I'll watch it."
Yeah. And that's like 90% of the movies that I watch are just this seems like a fun time. And most of the time, because I go into these movies with low expectations or, frankly, no expectations, that's part of the reason why I enjoyed Suicide Squad as much as I did. It's part of the reason why I enjoyed Superman versus Batman. Or was it Batman versus whatever?
Batman v Superman.
Yeah, Batman v Superman.
Okay, everybody I know that has seen it hated Justice League. I liked it.
It's not bad. Like,
I mean, Henry Cavill's upper lip is a little fucking weird.
Dude, I didn't even notice it. I didn't even notice it the first time.
The only reason I noticed it is because I didn't see the movie until after it came to DVD and shit. So everybody had always talked about it. So, of course, that's the first thing my eyes laser on. Yeah. I'm just like, that's a fucking weird upper lip you got there. I know that's not how you really smile.
Exactly. And Zhang makes a good point in the chat that he said, sounds like my experience with Star Wars Episode 9. It was a fun movie that I watched twice. It was.
Thank you.
It was. They were fun.
Yes.
Like, the new trilogy, like, don't get me wrong. Do I think it's the best movies of the series? No. But do I think they're fun? Do I think they're good movies? Do I enjoy them? Do I enjoy the characters? Fuck yeah, I do. Like,
there's a meme out there of it's Hayden Christensen, it's Anakin Skywalker, and it's the scene. The scene that it's taken from is when he tells Padme that he killed all of the Sand People.
Yeah.
Tusken Raiders. It's when he confesses that he found his mom and then he went on the warpath and killed them all.
Yeah.
And it's he says there, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but he's
not
like,
just the men, but the women.
Yeah. Well, but like how the meme goes is like him saying, I loved Star Wars. I loved the original trilogy. I loved the prequels. I loved, and I love the new trilogy too, because I love Star Wars and I will always love Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love Star Wars. It's fun. Do I believe certain movies are incredibly better than others? Oh, hell yeah. Empire will always be the greatest film, in my opinion. And yeah, I'll always put Phantom Menace down towards the bottom, but I still love them.
Yeah. Well, and it's the idea behind that too is that like what really annoys me is just a whole bunch of like the nerds out there who are just like, "Oh, well this isn't my Star Wars. This isn't the Star Wars I grew up on." Dude, it's originally it's a movie, it's a sci-fi movie that's fun and is kind of more aimed at kids.
Yeah, to quote Freddie Prinze Jr., it's a fucking kids movie.
Yeah, and just because you as an adult don't like it doesn't mean that it's not something that you can't enjoy, or like it's just because as an adult it doesn't feel like what it did when you were a kid. It's probably because it's not made for you, bro.
Yeah,
Like it's made for
because
a
it's
new
not.
generation of Star Wars fans.
You know,
And
the reason that I think that Phantom Menace ranks so lowly on my list of Star Wars movies is because that movie's not meant for me.
Mhm.
It's clearly, I mean, of all of them, in my opinion, I think that one is clearly a kids movie.
Yeah, I mean it literally has a slapstick character who does slapstick comedy. And
Who and you know what? I'm as guilty as anybody else for the way, the hate sent towards Jar Jar, especially right after the movie came out. But now that I've grown up and I've matured, I look at it and go, man, the character got a raw deal.
yeah, and I mean when you look back on it with the glasses of this is a kid or this is a movie that is aimed more for a younger audience. And whenever you look at it with those glasses in the hindsight, because as they say, hindsight's always 2020. But when you look at it through that vein, I mean, you kind of realize that, I mean, he's not that bad of a character. He's not a great character, but he's not bad. I mean, he's there as an entertaining and kind of just that uh, everybody else is playing the straight man, and he's the comedic relief.
Yeah. And the idea that he could have possibly had the heel turn of a lifetime.
Oh my god, that was such a cool
God,
fucking
knowing
concept.
that, especially now, oh man, that would have been so great.
Yeah, like and I mean that would have been fucking awesome. But we're kind of getting away from my original point here, which is fine. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
the show's all
no,
about.
it's cool.
We're
Welcome to normal conversations between me and James.
every single time we get together.
Every freaking time.
But anyway, so back to like the movie discussion that I was coming to. It's like Birds of Prey, for instance. Like it got review bombed like a motherfucker. I mean, the fact of that it was their lowest opening that they've ever had isn't really that bad or that raw of a deal initially, but whenever you like, which actually I think I'm gonna pull that up, like Birds of
Like,
Prey.
did that article actually give like any reasonings as to why? Like, you know how someone will say it received poor reviews or there was controversy surrounding the film. Did it say anything about any of that?
Let me dig into it just a little bit. Um, positive. Yeah, despite positive reviews, I mean, everybody says the reviews were good. Worldwide take was 81 million. Its budget wasn't that big, but yeah, like it's lower than Shazam and all that, and it doesn't even really say why. Like it feels to me like there wasn't even a really good reason why. But when you actually look at the top 10 North American box office estimates, I mean, it's right there at the top. I mean, 1917 was third. Jumanji, which is I didn't even know Jumanji was still in theaters. I didn't know Rise of Skywalker was either. But like, it's not going up against like super strong movies, and a lot of them are older ones that have been out for a while. So
Yeah, well, it's
everybody's
like,
pretty much
I
seen
would have expected it to do poorly if it had gone up against Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
But
100%.
Star Wars released last year. I mean, granted, it was in December, but still,
Yeah.
you know,
But it's one of those that it didn't come up against anything that was strong, and everything that it did go up against is movies that had already been released, the previous weekend or a couple weekends ago and all that. But I mean,
I mean, it could also, because we have to take everything into consideration, it could also just be that maybe there really just wasn't an audience for it.
yeah,
Like I mean, because all the reviews are good. Everybody I've spoken to has said great things about it.
which
Maybe though, people just aren't interested in seeing it,
yeah, well, and I'm looking here at the Rotten Tomatoes.
which sucks.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes, and it's got 80% for professional reviewers, which don't even start on that.
Yeah,
But
we all
it's
know they're hacks.
yeah, it's also got an 81% audience score. So again, it's one of those like everyone who's seen it has said it's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. But due to that, or at least it appears that due to that, they have officially changed the name of the movie. Originally, the movie was Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which, I'll be honest, is a mouthful, is now called Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. It is now less a Birds of Prey movie and more a Harley Quinn movie, with the Birds of Prey being a background character, which makes sense to me. I feel like they probably should have done this earlier if they were going to do it, because every review that I've seen is it's a Harley Quinn movie with a whole bunch of really good co-stars, which is cool. I mean that's fine. I like I said, I loved Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and I can tell you right now, I'm gonna love Margot Robbie in this movie, and I'm probably gonna love this movie, and I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'm not worried about saying it because I know it's gonna be true. And I mean, but I generally love Margot Robbie and everything she does. I mean, she's one of those actresses that it's like if I see her in a movie, I'm like, that's probably going to be a good movie. Similar with like Will Smith. I don't know if like he's
After Earth.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was good. I
Oh,
enjoyed it.
man, that was a rare miss for me. Like I did not enjoy that movie at all.
Is that the one that yeah, it's him and
Yeah, that's the one with him and his
kid.
son.
Yeah, him and his kid. Like I thought it was good. Like
I mean,
I
that's.
enjoyed
I mean,
it.
like I said, the movie. It was like it was fine, but at the end of it, it was like, yeah, I'll never watch it again. Like I just don't have a desire to see it again.
I've seen it three
Um,
times.
what?
I've seen it three times. Like I said, I enjoyed it. The only movie that I haven't seen of his is that new one, Gemini Man, at which
Oh, I haven't seen that one either.
yeah, which again is another one of those movies everybody kind of takes a shit on, but I don't know, it looked cool to me.
The concept was very cool.
It's Will Smith fighting Will Smith, so all right,
Yeah.
I'm down. But like I'm looking through his filmography, and I'm not seeing anything that I watched that I'm like, I wasn't a fan of that movie. Like most,
No, Will Smith generally does very, very well in the movie front.
yeah, like he does. He puts out pretty good movies,
Uh huh.
and I can't say that like my favorite Will Smith movies are like super cerebral and like really really like important for their times movies, but man, they're good. They're fun. There's a lot of like popcorn flicks, like Wild Wild West, for instance.
Oh hell yeah!
I love that movie, but it is dumb as shit.
God, that movie is so funny. I love it.
It's so dumb though. Like it's so dumb. But it's great though. Like that's the deal. And like Hancock, I mean, dude literally did a superhero movie that didn't get near enough credit for what it was. But I thought it was amazing. And we can't talk about Will Smith without talking about Independence Day. I mean,
Oh hell yeah!
if you want to talk about like a weird movie with a weird concept that by all accounts should not have worked, Independence Day. But it worked so well, and it was so great.
It is a great pre 9/11 movie.
Yes, it is.
Like it sums up. It sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, and Zhang, you're absolutely right. Will Smith is Deadshot, perfection.
Yes, he was great as Deadshot. I loved him.
Yeah, exactly. He was probably the best representation of Deadshot that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I don't think Deadshot's been featured in any other movie. So
Well, like, okay, so on the subject of DC and everything, um, DC movies, like their live action movies and stuff, for whatever reason, they just don't do well in the theaters, you know?
yeah,
But one thing that DC does really well is all of their animated, films,
yeah.
TV shows, everything. I mean, because everybody, who here hasn't seen or when they were a kid didn't watch Batman the Animated Series or Superman? I watched both of them.
I watched Batman. Not a lot, but when it was
Yeah,
on, I would watch it.
yeah, and there's constantly DC, cartoons, animated series, and everything on, and they're always just so good. Teen Titans Go excluded. Um,
Look, man,
it's
Teen
a
Titans was
good.
my jam when the original was
Teen
my
Titans
jam.
is the shit.
But it was my jam when it was on, and then I turned on the TV. God, I don't even remember how many years ago it was. And then Teen Titans Go, like I saw Teen Titans, I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude! They're still making this, awesome!" So I turned it on. It was Teen Titans Go. I was like, "What is this?" You know what?
Yeah.
It's another thing not made for me.
No, yeah,
Kids
not
have
not
fun.
meant for 30-year-old Mac. So let's just move along.
You know what?
But
Kids, y'all have fun. It's not my
yeah,
Teen Titans, but it's not meant to be.
yeah. But one of the things that I'm really excited to see because I recently got the DC Universe for my Xbox, and I've been watching it
Okay.
every night, and I've really gotten into the Titans series on there, the live action Titans,
Okay.
and it's really good. I really enjoy it. Um,
Weren't they making a Teen Titans movie? Like a live action movie? Or was that show?
I think it was the show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but like I've started getting into that, and it's like, okay, this is awesome. DC, and also too, like they had the shows on the WB. They had Arrow, Flash. Didn't they have Supergirl? Wasn't that a show?
I don't remember. I don't know.
I
Again,
think it was.
not a DC guy.
But they had these shows, and it's like, man, their TV shows are really good.
Hmm.
So, and it's one of those things like maybe if their movies aren't doing good, maybe they should just make TV shows because they do really good at that.
Well, and then like Zhang made a good recommendation. I mean, why don't the writers for the animated movies write the live action movies? Which is a good theory in concept. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense on paper, but at the same time, they're kind of two different mediums. What you can do in an animated movie, you can't really do with the budget that I think you have for a DC movie.
And when yeah, it is a great idea, and they should try it because
I mean, nothing else is working.
I like DC live action movies, and I wish they did Marvel levels of better. But it's one of those things. I think that DC is great with its animated stuff. Not that they should just stick to it, but I think that that's really what they should concentrate on
It
more
should be their main
heavily.
focus, their main point of focus.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think that's a great idea. Which, by the way, I'm probably gonna watch that Titan series. It actually looks pretty good.
I highly recommend it. They've got other live action series on there too that I intend to watch all of them.
Well, and
But the
I'm
biggest
also.
reason I got it was to watch the new Harley Quinn animated series,
Mhm.
which is very funny. Don't let your kids watch it.
Oh, that makes me very happy. Well,
Yeah,
and it's one of those too. Like, I mean, they're actually starting to make like cartoons for adults, which is cool to me.
yeah, yeah, and I'm really pleased with that.
Yeah.
But then again, I've always kind of had cartoons for adults because I'm a huge weeb. So
Mm, I
there's
mean,
that.
I wasn't gonna say it, but Yeah, you're right, Zhang. Warner Brothers does not have Disney money, and I
No,
don't
they
think
do
they
not.
ever will, because the House of Mouse will eventually be our new overlords. We will
Yeah.
no longer be the United States of America. We will be the United States of Disney. Or actually, I think the United States of Mickey sounds a little more, rolls off the tongue a little better.
With Supreme Leader Walt after they unfreeze
They
him.
unfreeze him. God, I love that rumor. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite like urban
Frozen
legends.
beneath the Epcot Center.
Yeah, is he's frozen beneath the Epcot Center, waiting until they have that one day where they can like fix what I mean. Didn't he have cancer?
Huh?
Didn't he have cancer or something like that?
I don't know. I just know he was an anti-Semite.
Well, yeah, he was.
But then again, who wasn't an anti-Semite back in that time?
I mean, yeah, who wasn't an anti-Semite back in that time that was popular?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bad time for. I say it was a bad time for America. Let's be honest, America's always been racist. I know you can't hear me, Mac, but it is a discussion about Birds of Prey, and you are missing out because it's a good one. See, and again, there's another person who has seen the movie who says it's good.
Little Mac seen it?
Yeah, they've seen it and they say 5 stars. Would rate higher if I could, and I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't get why it failed. I don't get why it. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
But then again, we don't really get trends and shit like that. We're not in marketing.
You're not in marketing. Technically, I am in a form of marketing, and Chelsea is also in marketing, and I don't know that we get it either. I say Chelsea's in a form of marketing, like she legitimately is.
She is marketing.
She is marketing. Hi, by the way, thanks for to the 2 new followers. Looks like it's members of the McCullers clan. So that's cool. Oh yeah, by the way, thanks to I guess I should probably like shout out the followers who have added. L Robles 47, which I think that's Jason. And then Dez 49, which that's Dez. I don't know if you are still in here. Hi Dez. I know you said hi earlier, and I probably said hi to you back, but whatever. Thanks for the follow. We could definitely use more followers because I don't know how close we are. But we are getting pretty close to 50 followers, which will get us affiliate status, which would be really dope if we could get affiliate status, because that'd be cool. Be really cool. But yeah, anyway. So there's just, it just doesn't make sense to me, man, that like all of these like what I believe to be like super good movies just don't do well, and it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why they decided to change the name, because Harley Quinn's a more recognizable character, and they're kind of riding off that high from Suicide Squad, where like she was the breakout hit, and I mean, even though there should have been more breakout stuff on that, but whatever. I'm not gonna complain about that anymore. I got to admit though, like one of my favorite superhero movies in general has been Shazam.
Oh God, I loved that movie.
I loved it. It was great. It deserved more than what it got. And if they make a sequel, I'm going to be in the theater to watch it again. Because I thought it was great, and I don't care who knows it. Because
I thought he did such a good job of being a kid in an adult's body.
It was so great.
I mean, was that not exactly how you would have acted if you were a 13, 14-year-old boy and you suddenly transformed into a 33-year-old man like that? I mean,
a 33-year-old man with superpowers.
with superpowers.
And like
I
super
mean,
cool superpowers too.
it was the like that's. I mean, I just fucking clap to that.
It was, man. It was a great movie, and it's like I said, it's one of my favorite superhero movies.
Hmm.
But then again, I'm also the guy that thinks that Deadpool was a film masterpiece as well. So I don't know if my film expertise is really legitimate or shouldn't be called into question.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, what's your favorite superhero movie? I don't know that I've ever asked you that before.
My favorite superhero movie?
Yeah, of all of them.
Hmm. That's a hard one to answer.
I mean, what's the first one that comes off the top of your head?
The first one that comes to mind is always a movie that me and my dad went to go see, and it was the Punisher, and it was the Punisher with Thomas Jane.
Oh, the Tom Jane Punisher
Yes, with John Travolta
was good.
was the bad guy in it, and I just remember because like I think that going to see that movie really like sparked something between me and my dad. Which I mean, we've never had a bad relationship. We've always had a great relationship. My dad he didn't introduce me to Star Wars. I can credit my cousin for introducing me to Star Wars, but my dad got me into Star Trek because we would always watch Next Generation.
Okay.
And that's why Picard is my favorite captain. And I've only seen the first episode of the new Picard series because I don't have enough money to get CBS All Access yet. I have to cancel Netflix maybe, and then I can get it. But so he got me into watching Star Wars and being a fan of that, and then we went and we saw The Punisher. And I'm sure we probably saw other movies before that, but that's always the movie that comes to mind. And like ever since then, like me and my dad have just always been like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Is that's like our thing. My mom really doesn't really care too much for sci-fi, but like me and my dad can just go at it.
Yeah. No, and that's great. I mean, like my dad introduced me to Star Wars at an early age, and it was pre special edition Star Wars. So
Yeah.
there's that. Which I still have the original VHSs from that time frame.
Which we need to get a VHS player.
Yep.
And we need to watch one day.
I actually have two copies of the original pre special edition. The one that I had whenever I was a kid, which for some reason the corners are chewed off of all three of the VHS sleeves. Not sure why. Not sure how it happened.
Probably blame the dogs.
We didn't have dogs when I was a kid.
Well, then I don't know what caused it.
Neither do I, and I grew up with those videos. But I also have a second copy that I bought at a garage sale like 4 years ago, and all three of the movies because the case itself is like an outer case, and then you've got the three movies inside of it. But the three movies still have that little red piece of tape that's like it's kind of like a seal, essentially. It's the seals that they had back whenever we had VHSs to show that the movie had never been taken out of that box. Ironically, though, it's A New Hope has that seal, Empire has that seal, Return of the Jedi strangely doesn't, which means the people who bought this set only watched Return of the Jedi, which seems odd to me. Don't get me wrong. It is my favorite Star Wars movie. I get why they would want to watch it. But I don't know why it's the only one they watched.
That's so weird.
Right? But yeah, it's like those are and those have a point of prominence in my nerd display case, I guess is what you can call it. But yeah, they both have like this point of like super like prominence right there at the top where you can see both of them. Um, but yeah, I mean that was like the first like nerd or sci-fi thing that I ever saw, and I saw it with my dad, and he was like, and it was right before episode one came out. Because my dad had this theory that I still keep to this day, that if you're going to watch a series, you should probably watch it in the order with which the original creators intended it to be watched. Um, and because of that, my dad basically made me watch A New Hope. I was hooked at that point. Um, I mean, just like the opening crawl was cool, and then like the deaths, or not the Jesus Christ, did I really almost make that? The Star Destroyer, coming over the top of the screen, chasing the Tanta V4. I mean, that was just, it was so cool, and it got me like super hyped back in the day, and it's still like to this day, it still gets me hyped. Like just that little opening scene of just a Star Destroyer coming over the top and like just chasing down what appears to be like this little bitty ship. It was just so cool, and it's still cool like to this day. And the
Yeah.
fact of that it all still holds up is just a testament to the creation that LucasArts had back then. And
Hmm.
God, what's the name of that company? I am
Industrial Light and Magic,
Yeah,
ILM.
ILM. That's it. That ILM like created all those effects back in the '70s, way before digital and way before CGI and all that kind of stuff. And they created like these super cool scenes, and it was all God, what is it? Jeez, I am having brain farts. Uh, God, what is it called whenever it's not CGI? Practical effects. They were all practical effects, and and like I said, they still hold up to this day. I mean,
Hmm.
all of those scenes look just as cool today as they did
Well, I
20
mean,
years
it's
ago.
it's footage that held up so well that they used some of it in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, can we talk for a second about how much shit the side movies that are not part of the Star Wars Skywalker saga, how much shit some of those movies got? I don't give a damn. Solo was a great movie, and I don't think it deserved half the crap it got
I
because
really enjoyed Solo.
it was
My only
fucking
complaint with Solo is like it felt like it was trying to be too many different types of movies.
all
It
right.
was like, I mean, it's like it was good. It was good, but is it a heist movie? What is this? you
Is it a
know,
heist movie? Is it a buddy cop movie? Is it
is
a
it a rom com? I don't know.
The answer to your question is yes.
Yes.
Yeah, dude,
uh,
Zhang, like that's a good point too. He gets goosebumps from watching the beginning of Jurassic Park.
oh my God! Is Shooter?
Oh, it's so great. It's so great, right? Like it's
Yes.
fucking amazing. And it starts that movie off in the perfect way where it's just you know what you're getting into from the jump. And I mean, it's kind of disappointing that like dinosaurs don't actually look like what we created with the giant lizards of Jurassic Park. But man, were they cool looking.
Yeah.
And again, it's another movie that holds up so well. I mean, you watch that movie today and it's still like it still holds up to the current Jurassic Park movies. I mean, if not a little better. Um
Yeah.
but I do love the fact of too the explanation that they have in I think it was Jurassic World. Whatever the movie was where it was like super sad when everybody was like on the boat or the plane like going away from the island as it was exploding and you watch all the dinosaurs. Like that's Oh, by the way, spoiler for an old fucking movie. God, when did that movie come out? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Spoiler alert
Which
for
one?
yeah, spoiler alert for Jurassic World Universe, whatever. That I just spoiled the ending scene of that older movie. But whatever movie that was, like where they have the scientists explaining, yeah, dude, we know that they're not like what dinosaurs actually looked like, but you didn't want a park full of chickens and birds. You wanted a park full of big lizards. So we made big lizards.
Mm-hmm. Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Boogaloo.
Oh my god! It should Jurassic Park 2 Cretaceous Boogaloo. Um, but yeah, I mean, and that was like I was saying before, is like the Star Wars thing was my introduction to sci-fi, and it was a great introduction, and nobody can tell me different, because I've never watched Star Trek, which again I'm sure is just another negative punch in my nerd card.
Heresy.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Well, okay, so quick little story about the first time I actually met James. We were playing L5R, and he had invited us over to his apartment, and we were going to play there. And this was my first time meeting him. My other friends had already met him once or twice before this. And so I came in, and we were playing L5R, and I was playing a character who had some knowledge in medicine and all that. And there was something happened. I think an NPC died or whatever, and we needed to find out how he died. Well, we were all Ronin, so nobody really, gave a shit of what we did. So I'm over there kind of like, moving the dead body with a stick and stuff so I don't touch the dead body. And your character asked me something. And, being the jokester that I am, I say, my character looks up at you all serious and go, "He's dead, Jim." And you just looked at me like, "What?" I'm like, "He's dead, Jim." And you just stare at me. You're like, "Okay, dude, I don't get it." I'm like, "Bones, Star Trek." And you go, "This is a wars house, god damn it, you get the hell out."
I forgot that I did that. I mean, it's always been a wars house. It always will be. My kids will not be Trekkies if I have anything to say about it. But at the same time, if Chelsea has anything to say about it, they will be Trekkies, and that will be a constant point of contention in our home. all I hope, which I hope beyond hope, gods, please send me 2 children, one that is a wars and one that is a Trekkie. In the chat, Chelsea just said, and Chelsea slowly started to pack her shit. Look, we own a house together. It's not that easy.
So you're in this for the long haul.
You made this decision. Live with your choice. Oh man, but yeah, like, and I kind of vaguely remember that too, because like whenever you said that, it's like, "Oh, he's dead, Jim." Dude, nobody calls me Jim anymore. Like, what?
Yeah.
No, like he's dead, Jim. Yeah, like I know that Jim is short for Jim. No, like from Star Trek. How
Bones, the original
dare
series.
You? Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
It was a good time. Which, for those of you who may not be familiar, which, maybe a fair amount of you, because it's not like that super popular of an RPG, the L5R that we are talking about is Legend of the Five Rings, which is a tabletop RPG.
Yes.
That was originally at that time by AEG Games. It has now since been taken over by Fantasy Flight, I think.
And even then, and I don't know, this may be nothing at all, but I thought I remembered reading somewhere that all of the staff for Fantasy Flight that was working on L5R has been given their coin and passport.
I think
I've been given the boot.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
I think that means getting fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've switched to a completely freelance model, which okay.
Okay, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, they've switched to a
So,
completely
okay.
freelance model, which could be good, could be bad. But yeah, this it's L5R. It is a samurai tabletop game that is set in the pseudo Asian world of Rokugan, which, for those of you who are not your normal Nerdcast fans, next week, whenever we talk on Not Your Normal Nerdcast, we will actually be having a blog writer who is talking with us about disabilities and such. Who actually L5R was her initial game that made her feel like disabilities aren't were decently represented in a game. And she writes blogs about it, and she's a super big L5R fan, which is a way that we bonded because I absolutely love L5R, and the new L5R is great. It's an enjoyable time. It's easy to play, and it's still just as fun and deadly as the other one, as the old versions. But yeah, and that was my introduction to gaming, you assholes. Because L5R is a very, very, very difficult setting because there is a lot of rules that if you do not know, you will be forced to commit Sudoku. I know it's seppuku. You will be forced to commit Sudoku on yourself, which nobody lives through. But yeah, and that was...
Okay. I'm sorry. So, had a friend. This was before we met you, James.
Mm-hmm.
We had a friend. We were playing L5R. And in... actually, I think it's also in the edition that we played. But I believe in the third edition revised, there was a advantage you could take that would allow you to survive one mortal wound. Like, basically, it gave you 2 lives every game session. Okay. So, like, if you got into a fight with something and it would have killed you, miraculously, you have 1 HP. You're unconscious, but you have 1 HP. You survive.
Okay.
But it only happens once per game session. And we had a friend of ours that he took that I call it a feat. He took that advantage. And then he just made an ass out of himself at court or whatever. And the only way to get out of it was he had to commit seppuku. And so he did that. And he was like, yeah, but look, I have the thing, so that means I live. And we're just like, well, I mean, so we're just like, our friend running it, that was running the game at the time, because he knew this friend was just trolling.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, all right, sure, yeah, you survive. He goes, all right, just let me know when I wake up. And so we played a little bit more of the game. And then he got to him and was like, all right, Aaron, you wake up. You're on fire. And he's like, wait, what? He goes, yeah, you're on fire. And I need you to make your... basically, it's like, here, this is the damage for you being completely immolated. And he's like, wait, but what the hell? I had the thing. He goes, yeah, they cremate bodies in Rokugan. Which is true. They do.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, but I have the thing. He's like, yeah, and you survived. They didn't realize you weren't dead. So they threw you on the funeral pyre and lit it up.
Oh, no. That's great. That makes sense. I mean, if you've got that Deus Ex that allows you to live, I mean,
If you're gonna abuse it,
Yeah.
expect to get what's coming to you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but all right. I mean, I think we're sitting about an hour 40 right now. So
Went a whole lot longer than I thought we would.
yes, we did. I was expecting about 45 minutes or so. So, hey, good first run, I guess.
Well, I just so you are all aware, like James and I, we play a game in at the table in-house game with each other just about every week. And with our group that we play with, we all show up about 6, 7 o'clock. Game generally doesn't actually start until around 9:30, 10, because we spend that entire time shooting the shit like this.
Yeah.
And really, this is some of the funnest parts of game is just shooting the shit with your friends.
And that's not a knock against our GM because
No, it's not.
If he
it's not
watches this, I don't want him to think that.
It's not. No, but it's the biggest reason I go to game is because I get to hang out with my friends. And everybody should be so lucky. And that's, I guess, what my personal goal for Riot House is this is a place where you can come and you can have friends that you can shoot the shit with for 2.5 hours and then look at the clock and go, oh shit, I got to go to work in the morning. I need to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and it's that sense of camaraderie is kind of what we're trying to create here. Even if the chat goes off on a pizza rant for 30 minutes.
I am happy to have started that riot.
I mean, it makes sense, I guess. And by the way, Mac, Chelsea wants you to know that you guys started at 8:30 last Saturday. So,
but we all got there at like 5:36, something like that.
All hail pizza. Good God. We're not starting this again. We're not doing this again. I don't care how much
cheese
fun
for the cheese throne.
I don't care how much you guys have
Toppings
fun
for
with
the
it.
topping god.
Good Lord. Okay, so we're stopping this. I am stopping this before it becomes a problem.
There are no brakes on the hype train. You cannot stop us.
There are no brakes on the hype train, but you all can finish this discussion in chat while I leave. So, but anyway, man, so thanks everybody who hung out. It shows there's still 6 of you in here, but the chat shows 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So, I mean, the chat shows 10. The viewer count shows 6. I don't know what real life is anymore. Nothing makes sense.
Am I a robot?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so thanks for hanging out with us, guys. It's been fun. Like it was a lot more fun than I expected it to be, and I kind of just I kind of figured we'd be trying to shoot to fill airtime, at least to fill out the hour, but. Thanks.
Well, I think there's something we can both admit about ourselves, James, is we love to talk.
We do, which is why we tried to start a podcast 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and it failed. I think we've got a pretty good mix of people on here now, though.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just us, and we never admit our own faults.
I never do anything wrong.
As vast and as numerous as they may be. But anyway, so thanks everybody for hanging out on the Come As You Are stream. We look forward to talking to you all again soon. So tomorrow night at 6. Are you starting at 6 or 7?
No, I'll be starting at 7. I won't be getting into my apartment until 6. Mm-hmm. So give me about an hour, 45 minutes to, change clothes, relax, maybe eat something. And then at 7 o'clock, I'll be streaming Coffee Talk.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the Mike Myers sketch from Saturday Night Live called Coffee Talk, you need to watch it because it's hilarious.
And I'm sure there will be 1,001 references to that show in your stream.
Maybe a few. I don't want anybody to get too verklempt by it, though, so I probably won't do it too much. That was a reference.
But
and if I can sneak a JoJo reference in somewhere, I will.
Of course you will. But anyway, tomorrow is Coffee Talk with Mac. On Thursday is the second episode of Coffee Talk with me. Next Monday at the same bat time, same bat channel, non-DC guy making Batman references, is going to be Not Your Normal Nerdcast. We will be joined, as I said earlier, with Charlie, who is going to talk with us about gaming with disabilities. We're also going to be joined again by Ash, who you may remember from the second episode. He is also going to be talking about disability and gaming with us as well. And then, the schedule just continues to roll on like that. You can catch Mac every Tuesday playing game night. You can catch me every Thursday playing game night. Monday, you can catch me on Not Your Normal Nerdcast, and you can catch both of us on the Come As You Are stream. We have a stream schedule up on both our Twitter and our Twitch. It is our offline thing, offline. Don't know what offline picture. Whatever. You guys know what Twitch is. But we have our schedule up on our Twitter, which if you would like to go follow us there, it is at RiotHouseEnt, E-N-T, because we could not fit the entirety of entertainment in a Twitch handle. If you'd like to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/RiotHouseEnt. If you would like to follow either of us on our personal Twitters, or tweeters, whatever it is that we want to call it today, you can follow me at lone_wolf902. I do a lot of talking on there about mental health. I tweet at a fair amount of people just because I like commenting on their stuff. But lately it's been a lot of mental health, a lot of me just kind of throwing my thoughts out there because I'm a very big provider of ending the stigma of mental health. We should talk about it. You should talk about it. If you need somebody to talk to, feel free to message anybody at Riot House. Me, Mac, Chelsea, Little Mac, anybody that you want.
Yeah, I tell this to anybody. I can't guarantee you that I will have any answers, but I can guarantee you that I will listen.
Which sometimes is all you need. If you want to follow Mac on the Tweeter boxes, he is at Ed, that is with 2 Ds, E-D-D-M Johnson, spelled in the normal way that Johnson is spelled, not to offend anybody that spells Johnson any other way. And
like a weirdo.
See, I don't want to offend any other Johnsons. I do not speak for this guy. But yeah, I'm not really 100% sure what Mac talks about on his Twitter, but we're gonna look.
I don't talk about a whole lot. Mostly I retweet pro wrestlers. Matt Hardy in particular, because Matt Hardy is genuinely a really good person and needs a lot of good things to happen in his life and does not let anything get him down. And I retweet a lot of Chris Jericho and other stuff.
And Joji.
I love Joji.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out again.
You can also follow my Instagram.
Oh, you do have an Instagram.
Yep, at Big Mac Attack. Big BIG MACK ATAC. There, I just mostly post random pictures, talk about books that I'm reading, my Gunpla collection. I was about to say,
he also posts about the models that he makes. Don't let him undersell himself.
Yeah. My Gunpla collection, random funny memes, and sometimes hockey games when I go to them.
did post a couple of hockey games.
You're in a couple of pictures.
I am in a couple of pictures.
Or you're in one, at least. I'm looking at it right now.
I think I'm in 2. It doesn't matter.
Nah, you're only in one.
Excuse me. I did not.
Oh, and my pictures from the Sabaton concert. So, yeah.
But yeah, so thanks everybody for hanging out. We really appreciate you you chilling with us. It's been fun. And we will see you guys on the next stream. Later.
See ya.